I already know the answer to this question. Why you don't have an EpiPen is because you're.
Who has an EpiPen?
I have.
Other than you.
Like,
do you think you got a little bit of the tism?
I would be surprised if I wasn't spectrumable.
And I posted a picture of my mini fridge, my RGB mini fridge on Twitter with Prime in it, and everyone was like, "Fuck Prime, it causes cancer. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're gonna die." And we're not gonna take editor Nick. Do not clip that.
Yeah, you should.
Don't fucking clip that. Well, you know what? Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. It's
been a long week. We're ready to entertain you again.
Yeah, gosh, it's been so long since we were last on camera. We just like wearing the same stuff. You know, that's how we roll. We live a simple life, you know?
We smell really bad, so it's good that there's not smell-o-vision.
I was going to say we smell the same as we did in the last one, but that is also really bad. So both can be true. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. Thank God my nose is a little stuffy right now. That's helping out. So last episode we talked about crazy medical conditions, whether they're just like, you know, diagnoses, conditions that exist, or even individual cases. Some of these cases are so rare that only one of them has been reported just in existence.
Yeah.
And we'll get to some more of those as well. But it was a really interesting topic. We got through a couple of them. We have so many more. There's just some weird shit that goes on with
the
us
human body
and our bodies and our minds.
There are so many ways, so many things that can go wrong.
Yes, absolutely. And it's all equally fascinating. So I think the last one we talked about was the Hogan sisters, and that was pretty wild. Progeria. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
More or less, yeah.
Do you know that one?
Yeah.
Okay. You know all of these so far. It's also known as, do you know what it's also known as? It's a name. Looks like a double name. White people names. It's always named. Every condition is always named after a white person at some point.
Like ALS and Lou Gehrig's.
Right.
I can't remember.
Hutchinson-Gilford Progeria syndrome.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna remember that one.
That sounds like that's so white. That could be like a bank company. That could be like that's like Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs would actually be a sick condition. You have Goldman Sachs. That sounds. All of them sound the same. Medical conditions and like law firms and like stock companies, they all sound the same.
Well, because they're named after the people who documented and discovered.
There's always just white dudes.
At least for medical things.
Yeah. All right. So progeria is where I lost my place. Oh. It's an extremely rare, progressive genetic disorder. It causes children to age rapidly, starting in their first 2 years of life. Children with progeria generally appear healthy at birth, but they are not. So they age really fast. This is almost like, not quite Benjamin Button. There's another one that we'll talk about that is Benjamin Button disease, but this one is when you have like, I think there was like a girl who was. She had a baby face. She was 11 pounds, but she was 11 years old, 9 or 11 years old. And she was basically the size of like almost a newborn.
Yeah, it was
a couple months old.
I remember seeing something about a girl who was like the size of a 2-year-old or something, but she was, I don't know, in her teens, but her body had just not developed past like initial toddler size. Like,
are you a pedophile if you date a girl like that who's like technically of age? If she's like 21 but she looks like she's 3,
she has the mind of a child, so I'm gonna say yeah.
Oh no, you're right. No, wait, but their mind develops that way. Like their mind doesn't age either.
In this case, she was very developmentally delayed.
But there is a disease. I don't know if it's this disease, but they look like they're infants, but they're like 20. They could be 30, but they look like 12.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
I'm not an authority.
There was. I saw an article. This is probably a year or two ago, but there was an article of a guy who was dating a girl that had a condition that made her look like a 12-year-old, and she was a fully functioning 23-year-old or whatever. And everyone was losing their shit on the internet for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Highly controversial. What do you think of that?
Humans Humans are weird, man.
They are weird.
I think
two weird humans in that relationship.
If you're a consenting adult,
yeah,
and you're mature mentally,
of course. Like we're talking about like an average 23-year-old.
Yeah. Right. Then I don't really care what your body looks like. If you want to have intercourse, then go for it.
Sure. It's just interesting. It's like if you were dating a 23-year-old that didn't have legs and that was the only thing wrong with her, everyone would be like applauding you, like you're so like, oh, that's so sweet. That's so kind. But the second she just looks like her disability is that she looks 9 years old. Everyone's like, ew, it's gross. It would be. I mean, it's jarring to the mind. It's jarring to the mind, but is it to the heart? Can we look beyond skin deep, people? Can we acknowledge the depths of our love?
I don't know. I got hung up on you saying not having legs is the only thing wrong with her, because it's kind of insensitive.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
It's an insensitive way to put it.
All right, fine. There's nothing wrong with you. It's the only thing.
It's the only thing that's
abnormal?
unusual.
Okay, you're right. You're right. I apologize.
I'm curious if there is anyone watching who is, has a disability. They're in a disadvantaged group or minority or whatever it is, on the subject of, language that can be offensive. I'd like to hear your take on it. Like,
yeah,
how does it affect you? Is it something that, you've just learned is a product of people's ignorance, and you don't take it as intentionally, meant with malice? Or is it something that just, it's a hurt that builds and gets aggravated repeatedly? I'm curious. So if you're out there and you're listening, let us know about your experience.
That'd be great. That'd be really interesting. And I think both sides are valid. People who are like, I don't care, it doesn't bother me. Fine. Someone who's like, actually, yeah, it kind of bothers me sometimes. That's totally valid too. But I think it's all contextual. If you find yourself around someone who is maybe a bit more particularly sensitive to certain things, then out of respect, out of politeness, just out of common courtesy to your fellow man, like bear that in mind, right? Just have it in the back of your mind. And if they're cool with it, then feel free to joke around as far as they're willing to be comfortable with it.
Okay, I'm done beating you up now.
Okay.
Back to what was the hypothetical?
The hypothetical for was it Progeria? Oh, was if you're dating a girl who's sound of mind like fully 23-year-old, but she's got the body of like a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Is that creepy? Is that creepy in the slightest? It's okay. It's a little bit creepy because you might be attracted to her mind as a 23-year-old, but it's a little creepy that you're also able to like have sex with someone who looks 10. That's a little creepy.
Definitely a questionable territory to be in.
Some raised eyebrows there.
Yeah, but okay. Remember that
someone found a loophole.
Remember that Twitter, that TikTok couple of that?
Yes.
Yeah,
the old lady, the super old lady, and the guy who was younger.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I guess it's kind of like that, but then with the added taboo of just being super young in appearance.
I think that makes it very different because they both look very like she's old as shit. She's Crypt Keeper status. He's like in his 20s, and they both look like adults.
Yeah,
this is different because this girl in this example looks 10 years old. That's a big difference.
That is, yeah.
Other than just like two adults with a big age gap. That's fairly common.
Okay, but so I guess bottom line for me is if you're in love with somebody and their appearance is extraordinary,
prepubescent,
and you're both consenting adults, then that's your call. Like I don't personally have a problem with it. it would, if I saw you in public, I would probably, I mean,
that'd be the craziest thing. You have to wear a shirt that said, she's 23.
In that couple, I'm sure they have to be very careful about public displays of affection.
Yeah, dude. That's a no-go for me. If I was in that relationship.
I would definitely be like, what the hell's up with that?
Yeah. You show up to a date with a stroller.
And I don't see how you can't not without understanding the context of it.
Dude. That would suck, going to Disneyland with your date and like there's rides she can't go on. You know what I mean? But she can drink with you at the bar. That's fucking insane.
Actually, that would be probably one of the biggest perks of that is you take her to the bar and then it looks like you're just
drinking with a
10-year-old.
And then you just make out with her. Just sloppy wet kiss her.
I don't know. I'm thinking the best part is just when they see the ID and they're like, fucking really?
Yeah. They're flicking it 1,000 times, like bending it with the black light on it. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Dude, okay. The best part about being in a relationship would just be the trolling capacity. If you both had that same sense of humor.
If you're just like
both had that kind of
twisted
brain.
Let's just sicken some people.
Let's just light the world on fire right now. We could cause so much mayhem. So much mayhem, dude. It's insane.
Oh, wow. That is unique. That is a weird one. And I just weird to think about.
And so much more sus when it's like the girl's the young one.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other way around.
Although it kind of shouldn't be, but
it is.
We're not going to go there.
Yeah. We'll talk about hot teachers screwing their students in a future episode. We'll get there. That's on the list. Don't worry. Hello, boy. This fat cat. All right. The next one is Capgras delusion. Capgras delusion. This is like literally imposter syndrome. Capgras syndrome, or CS, or delusion of doubles, is a delusion misidentification syndrome. It's a syndrome characterized by a false belief that an identical duplicate has replaced someone significant to the patient. In CS, the imposter can also replace an inanimate object or an animal, but commonly seen with like, you think that your spouse is an imposter. You're like, what did you do with Mel? And Mel's
it's like you're experiencing a pod person situation and but it's
invasion of body snatchers, dude.
Yeah, but it's actually in real life. It's in your mind. Your perception is reality.
Yeah.
So in your reality, this person has your wife that you love has been replaced by somebody who looks and acts just like her. But you know that that's not the same person.
Yes, you could feel it deep in your heart that they've been replaced.
That's so gut wrenching.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. How do you even? You can't make that work. There's no way. There's no way.
I don't know. That's horrible.
There was a case that I read about. It was like an older lady, but she was diagnosed with it, and she was convinced that her husband was somebody else, and so she kicked him out of the house, changed all the locks on her doors, literally just treated him like fucking a stranger,
invader.
complete hostile stranger. That's got to be insane.
That's got to be just incredibly destructive.
Suddenly,
for everyone involved.
Suddenly, dating a 10-year-old doesn't sound so bad. And we're not going to take editor Nick. Do not clip that.
Yeah, you should.
Don't fucking clip that, you motherfucker. I see you watching this right now. I know you, dude. Don't you dare, dude. It's the last episode we'll ever do. But yeah, dude, I can't. That's so sad. It's such a sad thing. It's like it's like The Notebook, you know, when she has dementia, but she doesn't know.
I haven't watched The Notebook, so way to spoil it for me.
That is a big spoiler. My bad. You haven't seen that, but that's your fault for not seeing the Notebook.
I know, but
it's the greatest love movie, romance. It's the greatest romance movie of our generation.
Dude, I know. Time. I have this habit of saving, like, I haven't seen The Shawshank Redemption.
It's actually very, very dangerous for you to do that, to have a list of like most coveted movies because then there's just a really high chance that all these amazing movies will be spoiled for you.
Well, there's always going to be low grade spoilers that I encounter.
Yeah, I gave you a big one. Sorry.
So that one, yeah, that was a high grade spoiler.
You just need to get through that list faster.
I'll still watch it and I'll still enjoy it.
Yeah.
One of these days.
Yeah.
Or maybe I have already.
Maybe you'll forget about it. Maybe that'll be wait to watch that one way later on the list when you've forgotten about this conversation.
That's what I usually do. Fortunately,
just like the lady from
one of the benefits of having a very unreliable memory is
you have an amazing memory. What the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, I read a book and then a week later I can't give you any more than like 3 sentences about the plot.
Memory is such a weird thing because you also remember all of these fucking conditions that I'm listing off, these random medical conditions. You remember like what each ingredient is on a fucking label, like a nutrition fact label. Like you remember, you have so much information stored in the files of your brain that you can just pull out forward, and I think you can pull forward and just regurgitate all of it.
I think
it's crazy.
My memory is weird because certain things I retain really, really well, especially when they are factual, especially when there is some kind of element of science behind them. Because that drives my interest and it pumps my memory up, I guess. I read a lot for entertainment, and so I would if I read a book a week ago, I would probably have just as hard a time recalling and detailing what happened in that book as what happened last Thursday.
I wonder if it's because you read so fast.
That's probably it.
And I mean, that's the equivalent of me watching a show on 2x speed, right?
Which I also do.
Right. Which, like, I know I personally would be less likely to retain a lot of information watching it at that speed than if I just watched it normal.
Yeah.
So maybe it's because you read you get through multiple books in a day if you want. That might have something to do with it, right? Because you're retaining all of it in the moment. You're just in the present moment, but afterwards it's gone.
So yeah, it's
past.
It's really only writing to my short-term memory,
right?
It's not writing to my long-term memory.
It's in cache, and then the second you go to sleep, it's power off and on again.
Mostly, some of it gets put into long-term storage, but yeah,
sure,
that's a good way to look at it. Like, and personally, it doesn't bother me that much because it actually gives me the ability to reread books 10 times.
Damn.
And it's not like I'm reading it for the first time again every time.
Sure, but you're getting new stuff out of it.
I'm getting new details
and retaining more of it, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
So like I guess that's overall I would like to have a better memory, but the silver lining is I can reread.
Yeah, reread anything within a day. So
not quite that soon.
All right,
I usually give it 6 months to a year, but
no, I mean reread like a book in a day.
That's not so much a memory thing as it is just I read.
Oh
quickly.
Yeah, I'm just saying the trade-off is when you do decide to reread something, if it's 6 months later, you can do it very quickly.
Oh, I can, yeah.
Yeah, like it'll take me like 3 weeks to read a book. Sad.
Okay, so
I have like a second grade reading capability. I'm surprised I'm even able to read the things on.
You've done pretty well with the pronunciations.
And it's the alcohol.
So
lucky cat
loosens your tongue. Yeah. Helps you with those.
Cat does not have my tongue right now. Fucking Ukrainian vodka has my tongue, dude. All right, this next one, Aquagenic Urticaria. Urticaria? Aquagenic Urticaria.
You're basically allergic to water.
Yes. It's an extremely rare form of urticaria or hives that causes a rash to appear after you touch water. It's also known as water allergy and is an extremely rare condition with only 37 cases reported in medical research. Triggers: rain, snow, fresh water, seawater, sweat, tears. Imagine being allergic to all of that. That would
big time suck.
Fuck up your daily routine. Yeah, that would suck, dude. Like, just trying not to. This is kind of like what we were saying about the one that you develop a skeleton over you. Like, anytime you work out, like your muscle just builds an exoskeleton. So you just
your muscle converts to bone.
Your muscle converts to bone when you work out. It's kind of the same thing.
Not like if
not
you
as
have that
extreme.
condition, you don't work out. It's like every time you move,
Right.
every time I move my arm, I'm causing tiny amounts of damage to my muscle. It just builds up over time.
Right. But in this case, anytime you move around, you sweat, and then you just break out in hives because of the sweat. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Or like you could never dude, like breakups are already hard enough. Imagine just like crying and then just having hives on your face while you're just, why isn't she fucking leaving? I'm not good enough. I've never been good. And then you're just like breaking out. God, dude, that's got to suck.
Yeah. I've experienced dermographic urticaria.
Dermographic, so skin
derma.
graphic is scary. Oh, writing.
Yeah.
So you can actually write on your skin.
Yes.
Like, and it leaves a mark.
Yes. So I knew somebody in high school who had that natively.
Yeah.
Like she would be like, "Oh, just scratch her arm, blah blah blah
Been
blah."
on elaborate cheating schemes on a couple episodes ago. Would have been good.
So I actually found there's a couple of supplements that if I take them regularly, I get dermographic urticaria.
Oh wow, it's like a allergic reaction.
It basically causes I can't remember if it's increased histamine release or histamine sensitivity.
Yeah.
In mast cells. But basically, if I take these supplements for about a week, it was making me crazy. At first, I didn't realize the connection. It took a few times before I finally found the connection.
Right. Does it itch at all? There's no itch.
What it was is I was starting to just get really itchy all over.
Okay.
And then if I would scratch, it would get even itchier.
Yeah.
So I would be at work just
going to town.
Have you ever seen like a bear rubbing its back on a tree?
Yeah, fucking Jungle Book, dude.
Yeah, that was me.
Baloo, I was on the palm tree, like
yeah, but every itch I scratched
made it worse. Yeah.
And it was making me crazy. So I stopped taking everything.
Yeah.
And it took me like 3 rounds to figure out what was causing it.
What was causing it? Sorry, I missed it.
It was the lutein. And milk thistle. Lutein is for sure. Milk thistle is I'm almost positive.
And this was a supplement that you were taking, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Jesus.
lutein is
good cat.
It's just a pigment. It's
to make you whiter.
You get it from. Do I look like I need to be whiter? Fuck you.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Do you ever have enough money? I don't know. Fucking this shit.
It's the reason why it's from marigolds. It's the reason why marigolds have that really bright color. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good for your eyes.
Okay.
Because I want to take care of my vision.
Yeah.
The macula and the retina.
Okay.
And lutein is good for that.
Okay.
So that's why I was.
So if I ever want to really troll you, I could just slip some lutein in your drink.
It would be very apparent that it was in there because it would be incredibly bright.
What an
orange.
interesting allergy.
And it's here's the thing: is it could be that it was the lutein.
Yeah.
Or some metabolite of lutein.
Right.
Or it could be that there's some other component that's in marigolds that ends up getting, that is considered inconsequential.
Right.
That ends up getting into the pills with the lutein left over.
It's still so random, so bizarre.
Yeah. Same with milk thistle. Milk thistle is a common herb that people take for their liver health.
Yeah.
And I was taking milk thistle because I figured my liver works hard. I'm gonna take care of it.
Were you itchy all over your body, or was it just specifically your back?
I started to notice it most on my back, and I would be like scratching my back, and
which is already hard to fucking get to.
Yeah. And then it was actually, it was actually going on when we were in Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't super, super bad, but I was dealing with it because I was taking lutein.
Wow.
Because if you take high doses of lutein, it can also help a little bit with protecting your skin from the sun.
Gotcha. Wasn't doing much service to your skin, dude.
No.
Damn, dude. Oh my God, that's so wild. Is that considered? I guess that would be considered hives in a sense. Did you have any visible?
It wouldn't
bumps, or was it only after you scratched it that it would show up?
For me, the furthest extent that it got was I was like moderately itchy all over all the time, and if I scratched myself, it would create a big welt. Like after a minute or two, I would have like a very, very visible welt.
That's crazy.
So that's why it's called dermographic urticaria. Makes you can sense. Literally write on your skin.
Yeah.
Because
like just a sketch,
just like a simple finger swipe, not even necessarily a fingernail scratch.
Sure, just the finger.
But like a firm finger swipe, could be enough to trigger it.
Leaves an imprint. That's crazy,
and it's not fun. So having that just all the time for no, there's no clear thing that you can do to make it stop.
Yeah.
Well,
at least you kind of know. What caused it to a degree. Like I've broken out in hives once, like severely, and it was all over my body. Like it, and I still don't know till this day what caused it, but I was out running errands with my ex at the time. I was already living here, so it couldn't have been more than 3-4 years ago. And we were out running errands, and suddenly I started getting really itchy, just my arm or whatever. So, what the fuck? And then it was my legs. It was my neck and my chest, and it intensified very quickly. It was a crazy quick onset, and I was like, I don't feel so good. I'm itching. She's like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh my God, like this is a problem. This is
a medical problem.
This is a medical issue. I don't know what's happening in my body, but I can't function right now, and I'm itching everywhere, and it's insane. And so we were near a CVS, so she ran in to get
Benadryl.
And I popped the Benadryl, and I needed to take my clothes off. That was the first thing I thought. Like, I need to take my clothes off because the clothes were making it.
And then you were like, I need to take my skin off.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to literally peel my skin off. It was itching that bad from head to toe, dude. Yeah. And so we're in, the old town or whatever, and I'm speeding home. I'm in my car, right? I'm going 80 down. I'll bleep it out, but Lake. I'm going 80 down Lake. Literally blowing through lights. I mean, she's freaking out.
Why don't you have... Okay, well, I already know the answer to this question. Why you don't have an EpiPen is because you're...
Who has an EpiPen? Other than you. You have probably 5 EpiPens. You're the only person. You have more EpiPens than anyone I know. No one else has an EpiPen.
Because of people like you who just randomly get hives, and if I'm around, then I can actually... Like, okay, your airway's closing up. Boom. Yeah. EpiPen.
And I'm thankful that for people like you that you're in my life, because especially now that you're around here, like who knows? Because I still don't know what it was, but I come home, I rush in, I take all my clothes off, I get naked, and I throw on a cold bath. I just cold water and I just sit in it.
Yeah.
And I just fucking chill for like an hour until it subsides. But once it was scary, dude. Like I took my clothes off. I took all my clothes off in the bathroom, and I looked in the mirror, and I had hives from head to toe. I still have the photos on my phone. It is crazy. I look like I've been like burned alive almost. Like it's just like bumps and it's everywhere. It's like on my forehead. I don't know. Till this day, I'm so curious what it was. It's so long ago too that I can't go back in my mind. You can't reconstruct
the day.
I can't. I don't know what I ate or what I interacted with. But it was...
I bet you went to Whole Foods and had a sample of some herbal tea.
I don't know what it was, but it was insane, dude. I've never been so miserable. A few times in my life I've been that miserable.
Just a
no joke.
word of advice: if you have hives, you probably should just go see a medical professional immediately.
Just go to the ER.
Yeah, because
urgent care.
Because hives can be
Deadly.
fatal. Like it can progress to the point where you can't breathe and stuff like that.
Jeez.
So you lucked out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you got some Benadryl, so that helped. Hopefully make it less worse than it could have been.
Right.
But yeah, that would be typically considered a medical emergency.
It's scary it's scary to know that there's something out there in the ether that can do that to me. From just interacting with it, and the fact that I don't know what it is.
It's out there lurking.
It's just lurking. It's just waiting for the next.
Probably kale, man. You should definitely stay away from.
I just had some kale chips the other night. I'm fine on kale.
I was trying to give you an out on eating kale.
Well, you should have picked something less, more horrible than kale. Kale's not that bad. Kale is like, it's like Nickelback. It's like everyone likes to hate on it, but it's not that bad. I've heard way worse music than Nickelback.
I actually am avoiding kale for two reasons. I don't like. I find it unpleasant, and it also has been shown to have very high levels of PFOAs, which is perfluorinated something compounds.
Does it cause cancer?
It's a forever chemical. It's like one of those things that builds up in your body, and
it's not cancer causing though, is it?
Everything causes cancer.
So okay. So then, but is it particularly known to cause cancer?
Here's the thing: is we have filled our environment with all these chemicals,
right?
That we don't have any long-term safety data on.
Yeah.
And we consume them, they build up in our bodies, and then we go, oh shit, turns out that's really bad for you.
Right. Hold on. Is this any way related? Are PFOAs any way related to PFAAs or AS? PFAS.
What's PFAS?
Polyfluoro.
Well, yeah, it's a fluorinated
substances.
It's a fluorinated compound. So
okay.
Polyfluorinated blah 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 is probably going to be in the same family.
Interesting, because this is the stuff that is surrounding the lawsuit against Prime, the energy drink. They found 3 times the FDA approved amount of this shit in their drinks that causes cancer, and that's why there's a crazy lawsuit on it. I only know about this because Mel told me about it, and I posted a picture of my mini fridge, my RGB mini fridge on Twitter with Prime in it, and everyone was like, "Fuck Prime, it causes cancer. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're gonna die." So, just a interesting.
So
I
was reading about kale, and apparently quite a few some scientists went to local stores, bought kale from, I don't know, over a dozen stores, and all but 3 or 4 of them tested really high concentrations of PFOAs.
Really?
Yeah.
Is this the only leafy green that does that has that?
Who knows?
No,
you don't know till you do the science.
But we know it about kale.
Yeah.
We just don't know it about. We haven't detected it on anything else yet.
I don't know.
Green.
If somebody wants to go test spinach for me, I'd appreciate it. I like spinach.
I like spinach too. That'd bum me out.
Yeah.
If spinach was super cancerous, it was mega cancerous. Spinach is nice, especially when you go to hot pot, because it's the quickest thing to cook. Because the meat takes a while. And the noodles take a while, and the other veggies take a while. But spinach is the appetizer at hot pot.
Yeah.
Because you put that in, and it's you literally just dip. You don't even have to let go of your chopstick. Your chopsticks just
instant.
Hold it. It's instant. You just single dip. Spinach is great.
I like spinach.
I'm glad it's not cancerous and shitty like kale.
Or at least
that we know of.
Yet.
Yeah.
Because
time will tell.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not shitting on kale. I'm not saying that kale is intrinsically bad.
Yeah.
I don't particularly care for it, and there's some evidence that it tends to have a lot of something that I don't want to consume in it.
So it's double reason, double down on not liking kale.
So when I was a kid, I had a family friend come over, and my parents were babysitting them, and they pulled the most incredible trick
on your parents.
said we were having dinner and they didn't want to eat cauliflower and they were like, "Oh, I am allergic to cauliflower."
That's classic.
And I'm pretty sure my parents knew that was bullshit, but they just didn't.
You're not gonna take a chance,
yeah,
on someone else's kid. There's no way, dude. There's no way.
And I was like, they just totally dodged those veggies. Man, I gotta try that sometime. I never did.
It's like when you like this kid knows a cheat code. This kid has a cheat code.
Total cheat code.
Holy shit, dude! I'm trying that one of these days.
Yeah,
that's nice, dude. What a smart kid.
They're a very smart person.
That's very smart. I'm allergic, dude. No, because to be that young and realize like no one wants a lawsuit on no adult wants a lawsuit on someone else's kid.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, there's too much liability here. I mean, that's sometimes I would say that at restaurants if I thought that they were going to be snooty about something or a substitution.
Yeah.
I'd go, I'm allergic to that. Can you sub it?
Yeah, but that can have some blowback.
In what way?
Because they can be like, oh, you know what? Then we can't serve you anything because if you're allergic to that, that's potentially everywhere in our kitchen.
Oh, right.
So anything that we prepare here could potentially have that allergen. So
I guess it depends.
It
Depends on the ingredient, right?
It depends on the ingredient. It depends on how pissy the wait or cook staff is.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, first of all, I haven't used it that extensively. There's only been like a small handful of times I've done it. But yeah, I guess if they wanted to be really shitty about it, they could.
I've been lucky. It could be they want to be shitty about it, or they could be legitimately like, we cannot afford any liability on this.
Yeah.
Like this ingredient that you're saying you're allergic to is in potentially everything here.
Right.
So please.
I'm trying to think what ingredient I use. I mean, it wasn't like something common. It wasn't like, I'm allergic to garlic, where it's like, oh, that could easily be an ingredient that's in everything. It might have been like a protein or something. Like I can't have chicken, or can you sub the chicken for tuna or something like that?
You could be allergic to red meat.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
Lone Star tick.
Lone Star, is that the name of it?
Well, if you get bitten by a Lone Star tick,
it's
a particular variety of tick. I don't remember if it's a virus. I think it's actually. I don't remember. I need to find out if it's some pathogen or if it's one of the proteins in the tick's saliva.
Yeah.
But it can basically make you develop an allergic reaction to eating meats that are high in, I want to say hemoglobin, so like red meat.
Right.
But basically, yeah, you end up not able to eat red meat. You have to stick with like, I think chicken and fish. And I don't even know if you can have chicken.
Just can't go down on girls anymore. That's a nice way out. What's the name of that condition? I might use that sometime.
I don't know.
We're having fun.
That is between you and your immune system, sir.
And whatever other parties involved.
Yes. You got any more crazy medical conditions?
I have a lot, dude. There's a lot here. We haven't even scratched the surface. Adam Rayner. You know Adam Rayner?
I've heard the name.
He was an Austro-Hungarian man. He's the only person in recorded history to have been both a dwarf and a giant. So he's believed to have had acromegaly, whatever.
The second to last was closest, I think.
Acromegaly. Adam Rayner was born in Graz, Austria-Hungary, present-day Austria, in 1899, right at the turn of the century. As a child, Rayner was described as very small, thin, and weak. In 1917, at age 18, he was measured at just 4 feet. He therefore was refused entry into the Austro-Hungarian army to take part in the First World War. A typical defining characteristic of dwarfism is an adult height below 4 foot 10 inches. Several years later, likely as a result of a pituitary tumor that was identified later, Raynor had a dramatic growth spurt between his early 20s to 30s. He gained height at the average rate of 9.14 centimeters or 3 inches per year. By 1932, age 33, Raynor had reached a height of 7 foot 2 inches. He went from U.S. shoe size 10 at age 19 to size 20, only 3 years later. 2 doctors examined Raynor in detail between August 1930 to May 1931, at which time his height was 7 foot 1 inches. A benign pituitary edema was found, which was responsible for the enormous growth. And then I think he died at 7 foot 8 inches.
Yeah, humans are not meant to get super, super tall. We're not structurally designed to be sustainable at that scale.
Yeah, you can't even get on a plane if you're like more than 6 feet.
Well, you can. It's just it sucks, or you have to go first class.
Yeah. Yeah. Tax the tall.
But like,
yeah, being tall is way worse than being too short. I think being way too tall.
Oh yeah,
is worse than being way too short. In life, just in general.
Yeah.
Like just living day to day.
I would agree. If I had to choose, I would probably go 4'10" instead of
8 feet.
8 feet or something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's more debilitating, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe not by a lot. Who knows? But I think, if you can't fit, you can't fit.
Yeah. Being able to fit is pretty useful sometimes.
I mean, that guy could never fly. Not that planes were around when he was around, but
yeah.
You could never fly. You could never
ride roller coasters.
Yeah. Although you might never be able to ride a roller coaster if you're too small too.
Yeah, true.
But definitely, no roller coaster. So that's a draw right there.
Bang your head on shit all the time.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. There might be cars you can't get into.
I've been in a car where I was in a NSX.
What's that?
Is it RSX? NSX?
Oh, the car?
Acura.
Yeah, RSX, yeah.
RSX.
Oh, there's both, yeah.
And my feet were jammed into the footwell, and the top of my head was jammed into the top of the car.
Yeah.
It was like...
And you're not even freakishly tall.
I'm not.
Yeah.
It was just like, if I was an inch taller, I would not have been able to fit in the car.
Oh, my gosh. That's crazy. Yeah, you probably wouldn't fit in a Porsche. There's a lot of cars that you wouldn't fit into.
Probably, yeah.
Probably more cars you wouldn't fit into than cars that I couldn't reach the pedals.
I can't afford them, so I'm not worried about it.
The silver lining of the modest life. But yeah, and I think also you probably have more like medical issues as a really big person.
Yeah. And the thing is,
spine issues.
I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
True.
Like, because I was watching a 1-year-old who just learned to walk, and they fall, and it's nothing. Like, they can just fall over, and
they're built for it.
And you can only like the acceleration of gravity only has this much time from here to the floor,
right,
to make you gain speed and hit the ground.
Such a short
speed.
drop, yeah.
But if you're starting from 6 feet, you have a lot more distance to build up speed before you hit the ground.
Dropping your phone from an inch versus 6 feet,
yeah. So, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, I fell down all the time when I was a kid. It was like not a big deal, and then I remembered,
falling recently,
and part of it is
eating shit.
Part of it is getting older and injuries not healing so quickly,
right?
But also part of it is just like
you're further from the ground.
I'm falling. I'm falling, a lot further.
1.5 stories now. It's bad
in terms of my scale. Yeah, from when I was a kid, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Very true. Do you think it's also like, do you think taller people are just naturally more, maybe not clumsy, but prone to tripping on things or falling on things because it's like they're just more top heavy, like they don't have as low a center of gravity?
Well, they probably do have a little bit higher center of gravity. I think they probably have adapted to paying closer attention to their proprioception and sense of balance, just because experience has taught them that they need to be careful. I don't know that being tall makes you predisposed to being clumsy.
Sure.
I wouldn't really expect that, but I would expect that it would make you more likely to have an injury from falling, just naturally.
Do you think it'd be harder for you to like notice things on the ground, like tripping on things, because you're just like physically there's a greader distance between you and things on the ground versus someone who's really short?
That's a really good question.
Because
I don't know if I can give a good answer on that, because I have a tendency to look at the ground a lot, because there are a lot of interesting things on the ground.
I mean, I was definitely the first to discover the springtails in the house.
Yeah,
because they're way closer to me than they
were.
Yeah,
that too. But like, I don't know. I have a little bit of just like constant crow-like curiosity, where like if I see something shiny or interesting on the street, like I'll pick it up and look at it.
You definitely are. I think that's a trade-off. Like you're definitely just. I think this is more of a you thing than a tall person thing.
Yeah,
it's like you're just generally very observant, and you notice a lot of your surroundings, your environment. For a short person, I should be more observant because I'm literally closer to everything.
I think the difference is, I'm not. Like I'm paying a lot of attention to the environment. You're paying more attention to people. Like people and their interactions.
Yeah.
Versus like my attention is more strongly drawn to what's that thing over there?
Like, do you think you got a little bit of the tism?
I would be surprised if I wasn't spectrumable.
If you weren't grazed by it.
I mean,
if you didn't get a little matrix just nick, like whoo, just barely nicked you.
Yeah, I mean,
I could see.
I don't think I would say I'm.
You're somewhere
super neurotypical person.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that divergent from the average, but
right.
I mean, everybody has their own, unique quirks, and I guess I've learned to embrace mine.
I wish I was a bit.
I got called weird a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Like people would just straight up say like, "You're weird."
That's such a compliment nowadays, I think, though. I think that's become a sign of like you're unique. Well, it depends, because there's different levels of weird, different variations of weird.
Yes.
And no weird is wrong, but I think that there may be some weirds that that some people find more complimentary than others. I think you're a good type of weird. I think you're very original. You're very unique. You're one of a kind in a good way, in a great way, that is different than someone who's just like, you're weird. Like I wouldn't trust you around children, Like that's a different weird.
Or you're like people who are just kind of a little bit unpredictable and unstable.
Yeah. Or like super socially awkward.
Yeah.
Like you're not socially awkward.
I was. It took me till I was probably in like my mid-20s to like it was actually a lack of social maturity.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't develop socially.
Yeah.
I think mainly due to environmental factors.
Right.
But also without a doubt partially due to my character, my nature.
So it's just like, double dose of that. Like it was those two things combined, which kind of led to deficiency in like just social skills.
Yeah, definitely.
But you've clearly blown past that. Yeah, you caught up and you're good. I don't even notice. I don't think I ever noticed any social awkwardness from you since we have known each other, like in high school. But also, I was a dumb high school kid, and I was probably just we was a retard. You know,
we were both pretty high a lot of the time.
Pretty high.
If we were hanging out.
When we were together, we were probably at least one or both of us was high.
And that then everybody's socially awkward, so nobody is.
It's the great equalizer.
It is.
It does bring people together, I will say.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we probably would have got along as well if we were just both sober around each other the whole time.
Probably not.
We might have butted heads more.
I think so.
Or you would have you would have had even less tolerance of me, and that just would have led to more just aggravated trolling.
Yeah. So let's give a thumbs up to weed every now and then.
That's it. All right. 10-year-old boy. I don't even know where this one's going. We'll just write it out. 10-year-old boy came in with this is reported from Reddit. People who were in med school. Yeah. Reporting just crazy things that they've seen.
Oh, are you on MedIzzy?
I don't know if it was that. Just somewhere on Reddit.
Okay.
10-year-old boy came in with enlarging abdominal mass and intermittent generalized weakness. Imaging revealed a parasitic fetus, which was also growing in size. History revealed mass noted 2 years ago, which enlarged rapidly the last 3 or 4 months. Within days of admission, boy's organs began to fail for no apparent reason. He was healthy and eating well when he was admitted. Family wanted surgical intervention to separate the parasitic twin against surgeons' advice. Parasitic twin was basically starving/poisoning the boy to death. Surgeons opened the boy up and found that the boy and parasitic twin share a stomach, liver, heart, blood vessels, mesodermal organs. Basically, too complex to operate. The boy passed away afterwards. This happened to a poor family in an underfunded government hospital. Blah, blah, blah. Parasitic twin was donated to the hospital. It had teeth with hairy limbs with the longest curved baby nails. I can't describe it further. It's on display at Surgeons Hall. So, parasitic twins.
That's
parasitic
crazy.
Twins
so
are
you have basically that's like metabolically speaking, it's like a super tumor because. Mm-hmm. Not only is it taking nutrients, but it's also creating additional waste products. So just like your livers have to, not livers,
bladder,
your liver and your kidneys have to process and excrete waste products.
Yeah.
So the host, essentially the 10-year-old boy, his body, his organs were having to. His body was having to supply his parasitic twin with all the nutrients. Right. And then also deal with all the waste products of his twin's metabolism. Right. And excrete all those waste products. So I would expect that like his liver and kidneys would be really overstressed. Right. And the physiology of it is like kind of unclear, but if his digestive system was compromised, then that would also make it really hard to get enough nutrients to support the caloric needs of both of them. Right. It's so like, that's not a sustainable model.
It's like you've got single income with two, like a dependent, you're not bringing in enough resources. That's really crazy, unfortunate because it's supposed to be like that was supposed to be twins. Like they were supposed to be twins, but they just didn't separate. And so one was just formed inside of the other.
Yeah. That's wild. I actually have not heard I hadn't heard of that case.
Okay. Yeah. I looked up some Google all this stuff, guys. Disclaimer, if you're going to Google image any of the things we've talked about, do so with caution as a disclaimer. I was looking up some photos of this. It wasn't this exact case, but of parasitic twins, and it is wild. Like you'll see, like there's a kid, just like a 9-year-old kid walking around, looks like a normal kid, except he has his parasitic twin brother's legs growing out of him, just two like smaller legs from his torso, just dangling legs. And yeah, it depends. Like oftentimes the surgery is complicated because they're sharing vital organs.
It's really interesting how like medical images can be so disturbing. I've been interested in medicine long enough and been exposed to quite a lot of medical imagery to the point where I'm desensitized to it now, and I'm just like, wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And it can be, I think the average person would find it extremely difficult to look at, and I'm like, wow, that's really, I've never seen that before. That's amazing. How did that happen?
Yeah, I wasn't too disturbed by most of the stuff I saw. I was just putting the disclaimer out there for the viewers, the average viewer, because who knows what their tolerance is like. I don't think anything really freaked me out other than the first one that we talked about in the last episode, which was the tumor that can grow eyes and
teratomas?
Teratomas.
Yeah.
That one freaked me out because it was literally just a tumor with a face and eyes, and it was smiling like one of those mad balls. But then I found out later it was fake.
Yeah, that was...
It was completely
that
fake.
was an AI-generated thing.
It was completely AI-generated. I found that out. Someone was like, this is fake. And I was like, thank God, because that one, I was like, if you find that in your body, like you extract that, and it's got a face, it's like, it's like, throwing up a piece, smoking a doobie or something.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Real teratomas aren't pretty either.
They're not. And I saw a lot of those, and those were, but they didn't freak me out quite like the mad ball. Thankfully, it was all fake news.
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to share with the class before we end it?
Yeah, I don't endorse smoking weed in high school. It is not good for your brain.
Yeah. Wait till college.
Yeah.
Wait till college. That's a good time. Get it all out then.
It's hypocritical, but it's just it's medical fact. So just saying that.
It's hypocritical, but like, we those things we did when we were like 17, 18.
Yeah.
So it's not really that hypocritical because you're not able to really make the best decisions when you're that age anyway.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, go Team Venture.
Go what?
Bro,
go Team what?
I couldn't be on an episode where we're talking about parasitic twins and not say that.
Is that from the Venture Brothers?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure someone watching this, many viewers right now, respect you so much for that reference.
I'm basking in it.
As someone who has not watched the whole series and watched very little of it, I'm sad to confess that I didn't catch it.
Bro, you're sleeping on that.
I know, dude. I know.
But at least you watched Fallout.
I did watch Fallout, and that you know what? It really turned around at the end. I was ready to give up on it for so long.
There was a lot of stuff that finally just kind of coalesced, and you're like, oh, this is actually there's an interesting plot. There's character development.
I was
Stuff's
like,
happening.
finally, this is what I was waiting for.
It took a little while. It paid off.
Yeah,
but
so if you have any doubts about Fallout and you're getting through it, you're like, just watch the whole season. The first season, and maybe you'll like it. It definitely changed my mind, and now I gotta wait. Now we all gotta wait for season 2.
Or you could start watching The Expanse.
Or I could watch. Jeez, that's so much time. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll get into that after Vikings. After I finish Vikings, because that's my workout show.
Oh yeah.
Maybe after I finish Vikings, I'll just move on to that.
The Expanse is probably not a good workout show.
It's probably too heady and too
It's just. I mean, you're watching Vikings. It's
bloodshed and fucking killing and pillaging. It's the best workout show ever.
It's a macho dude show.
It's just it's pre-workout on camera.
Yeah,
that's what it is. But maybe I'll check out Expanse. If I can get the bae to be in on it, then I can watch anything.
Okay.
If I can convince her,
that's the spirit I like.
She's like a cat. I have to convince her that it was her idea, and then we're in the green light. It's just green lights after that. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching. Later.